Okay, so will be my spoiler review. Um, First and foremost, this is something that I'm trying. I am gonna get myself better equipment and do these videos more formally in the future. But right now, this is something what I want to try, and Star Wars is something I'm extremely passionate about, and this is my first go round. I've already made videos about this particular topic. Okay, so here goes nothing. Um, First of all, I want to say Merry Christmas. I was gonna put this out earlier, but I had to wrap presents and do things today, along with pass out. you know. Um, First and foremost, yesterday was a very good night. It was a very historical night for me and my family. Me and my three younger brothers, which the first time we saw a Star Wars movie was in 2002. The first time we saw one together. 2002, I took my little brothers to see Attack of the Clones. We stood in that long line. That was before pre-order tickets. So anytime you went, you had to stay in line. We stood in a long line, and I love and you know, for all the people who hate on Episode Two, Attack of the Clones, let me tell you, Jedi Death Battle at the end trumps everything you say. That's all I got to say. Huge Jedi Death Battle at the end. Um, so with that being said, it was a very good night. I For anyone who's on my Facebook, on my Facebook there is a live video of our rant. We always after every Star Wars movie we've seen, we've been doing this. This is like a tradition between brothers. After every Star Wars movie we see, we argue in the parking lot for about 15 minutes until the security passes us and we have to leave because we're black. They think we're selling drugs or something. I don't know. But yeah, so for that alone, the experience of the movie, um I saw it in Dolby Digital. $20 a ticket. Only go see a movie like this for Dolby Digital, I guess, with a lot of special effects, a lot of sounds. Only way you're gonna get your money's worth, cause that was a very immersive way to watch the movie, and it did make the experience great. We were all together, and that being said, let's start with this movie, Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Or The Rise of No Walker, cause ain't no motherfucking Skywalkers in the damn movie. Okay? We're gonna go there. I went into this movie despite what you may think. Even though I hated The Last Jedi, I went in this movie as a fan, wanting it to be good, wanting it to be something special. And it tries to be. It does. But problems arise in The Rise of Skywalker from the opening motherfucking crawl. The opening crawl is the dead speak. Palpatine has returned. I laughed out loud. My brother was just looking at me when he read it because he knew. I was like, you know, I they off screen this nigga's transmission. He said he made a hologram transmission or whatever, I guess, that broadcast all around the galaxy and they didn't show it to us. They didn't even tell us what he said in the motherfucker. I thought they off screened it and I was like, wow, so that's how they're gonna do things. But the movie did open up with Kylo whooping ass. Kylo, he looked menacing. He He was mean. Kylo's the most interesting new character. He's the most interesting sequel trilogy character. And I've thought that ever since the first two movies. If anybody know, I've seen my other video. All eight of you that watched it, I did say that Kylo is the most interesting character, and that rang true. He carries the story. Kylo Ren, and at the beginning he's tearing people up. Him and the Knights of Ren. Knights of Ren, by the way, super trash. Anyway, but him and the Knights of Ren, they going around and massacring people. He finds the Wayfinder. He finds the Emperor. This is the first like 3 minutes of the goddamn movie. He finds that motherfucker quick, and then there's a reveal. Palpatine says, "I've been every voice in your head that you've heard," and his voice switches from him to Snoke to Vader, and that was interesting. So that lets you know that it was Palpatine manipulating Kylo through Vader's helmet. Um, One of the first things he says, "I made Snoke." That retcons the Last Jedi because, believe it or not, and that only proves that Supreme Leader Snoke was supposed to be the big bad in this, and the next director just fucked it up. He killed off Snoke, so they had to make a whole new story, which they did, and which I would say they were successful in doing. Now, what I will say about The Rise of Skywalker is The Rise of Skywalker is a good movie that I don't like. You get what I'm saying? Like people have bad movies like Venom. I love Venom. Personally, I know it's a bad movie. I know that film is fucking terrible. But damn it, I will watch it every time it pops up on my TV screen. I can't help it. I can't help it. Maybe it's the fucking soundtrack. I don't know. But I like that movie. But I know it's bad. I know it's fucking horrible. And this is a movie where it's a good movie, but I just don't like it. And a lot of the reasons I don't like it aren't fair to this movie is because of the way that the things they had to do to retcon the Last Jedi. Um, Last Jedi buried Finn. They had to find something to do with Finn. Last Jedi fucked over Rey's character. They had to really, really fix that, which they kind of did, but it would have helped if this movie was two movies. Cause you see, we get into the problem where here it goes. Rey is Rey is training. You know what I'm saying? Leia is training her. All of a sudden, Leia is the Master Jedi. She keeps calling Leia Master. And then, she does have the help of the books. And Leia apparently has a lightsaber and blah, blah, blah. That was something that there was an opportunity, JJ. See, I think JJ wanted to wait and make that a reveal later on. But if he was asked, Kathleen Kennedy asked him to direct all the films, said do the whole trilogy. He said no. And then, but if you weren't gonna do that, why did you leave so many plots open to be derailed? Cause the next director, all he did was derail all your shit. And then you come in to take over to continue your story. Like it see these are things like I'm pretty sure if JJ knew if JJ would have known what was gonna happen with episode 8, I'm pretty sure there's one specific point he would have revealed Leia being having the Jedi power. We all know she's force sensitive. They hinted at that in the original trilogy. So we all know that she's Darth Vader's daughter. There is no way she's not forcing. Darth Vader is the more midichlorians than Master Yoda. Okay, so we knew, but they didn't show us if she had any formal Jedi training, and it turns out that she did, which was a given, which should have been in the first movie, and it kind of like leaves a plot hole in Episode 7, like, because why would she send non lightsaber using ass Han Solo to bring our boy back? Like, Han should have been like, bitch, you bring him back. You got a lightsaber. Like, bitch, if you got a lightsaber, you stand more chance than me. You know what I'm saying? Which sound like something Han probably would have said, not in those same words. But I mean, there's a lot. I'm not gonna get into, you know, head canon in my head, because that's not fair. But it's something that should have been shown already. And the scenes with Leia, you can tell like she's not there. Like, just looking at it, the way it's cut, the way it's edited, you can so tell she isn't in there. But it's still good to see her. I I just wanted to see her ignite that damn lightsaber one good time. The flashback scene was great. That was amazing. There's a lot of amazing scenes in this movie. All the battle scenes are excellent. The battle scenes get you hype. They better than the Last Jedi, better than the Force Awakens. Force Awakens was a lot of. I love the shootouts. It was like midnight in the OK Corral, in the Force Awakens. But then the Last Jedi was like, and then this movie is just like, yeah, you want lightsabers, bitch? Fan service, and I'm like, yeah, service me, bitch. At this point, Disney Lucasfilm is like a blonde bitch and just choking with my dick, you know, because they was servicing me. They got on their knees and they fellatioed the fans in this movie, but also the plot. The plot was fucked up. It was like a video game McGuffin. First of all, Kylo finds the first McGuffin 30 seconds into the movie. after the crawl, before you even know what the fuck he just found. He just found the motherfucker. He went on a planet, killed some niggas, found the shit, and went and saw the Emperor, and the Emperor was like, kill the girl. Kill the girl. So, apparently, and then there was like a lot of plot points. You could tell it needed to be two movies, because there's plot points that they just gloss over. And I know people are like, yeah, they didn't even explain how the Emperor came back, and they kind of explain it. They just don't hold your hand in it. And what Disney likes to do is give you little hints in the movie, and then when they figure it out, they fill it in later with a comic book or something. Bullshit. Because you should be able to tell me this in your film. Your comic books and your extra shit should fill in things that I wasn't even thinking about. Kind of like how Clone Wars did with the prequel trilogy. Clone Wars answered a lot of questions where you'd be like, damn, I didn't think about that. But now that makes sense. Like Clone Wars fills in why Vader has so much respect for Grand Moff Tarkin. Shit like that. Shit that I wasn't even thinking about. Shit that doesn't fuck up the plot of the film that you showed me, but shit that fills in where it's like, okay, now that makes more sense. I shouldn't have to fucking read something extra to figure out the plot of your goddamn film. That's not fair. When I paid my fucking $20 to sit in Dolby Digital, and you should have told me. But he does explain it where he says, some say the dark side has powers. Some would say unnatural. And I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. Oh, okay, so that's how they explain the way. Dark side powers, I'm alive. Deal with it, bitch. That's basically what the movie told you. Ray is a more fleshed out character now, which they wouldn't have to take so much time up in this movie if they would have fleshed it out in the last movie. So I don't feel sorry for them. Um, you know, Ray gets trained by Leia, and then they find out where you know they get intel from a leak saying that there's a wayfinder and blah blah blah, and Ray has to go get the wayfinder. Ray goes to get it, and she fucking has a vision of herself turning to the dark side. She fights herself, loses, blah blah blah. The force connection between her and Kylo was pretty dope. I did like that aspect of it. There was one point where she's on his star destroyer, and he doesn't know where the fuck she's at, and then they fight via the bond, the force bond, and then he realizes she's on this star destroyer. Um, the power scaling. Kylo and Rey are on a whole nother level of all the Jedi and Sith that we have seen before. Me and my cousin were arguing about this. My thing is, I still think Anakin was stronger than Kylo. Luke definitely wasn't, but Anakin was. Is just robot Anakin wasn't robot Vader wasn't as strong as Anakin Vader, if that makes sense. Anakin Vader, I mean, before the suit. And it ties in what it does tie in is that the Emperor you notice the Emperor keeps telling people to strike him down. It's because the Emperor was gonna, like he did, like how he survived the Death Star, he was gonna transfer his essence to whoever strike him down and get a more powerful younger vessel. That he was gonna use Luke for that. He was gonna use Anakin, but Anakin got fucking cut in half. You know, so it was like a trick. He knew that his eventual apprentice was gonna strike him down, and he was gonna take their power. The power of two with the Sith is nothing but the master siphoning the apprentice's power, which is why the apprentice always rises up to take out the master. But Sidious was a little more masterful because he knew how to transfer his essence. So that is what was going to happen. And whichever, I guess he sent Kylo initially to kill Rey. And I like the fact that Kylo was the big bad. Like, Kylo was really good in this film. He really was. I like the whole fact that he's like, he wants me to kill you, but I'm not going to do that. He was like, me and you are going to kill him, and we're going to take over his fleet, and you're going to be with me. He's basically telling his woman that we're going to do this together. And they touch on that dyad thing, but they don't explain it, which I think was cut out in the reshoots and everything, explaining that away. It probably fucked up the pacing of the movie, so they had to change it. But yeah, the movie is just like that. There's a lot of glossed over plot points. I mean, they gotta find something for Finn and Poe to do. Finn and Poe were actually good in this movie, but I would have liked to see it in the last movie so you wouldn't have to spend so much time fleshing out these relationships in this movie. That was it. That was what was holding this movie down, trying to retcon things and course correct. And people say, "Oh, they just wanted to pander to the fans." They not really. They just wanted to make a bad movie not that relevant. It was a bad movie. You can logisticize the narrative decisions, the narrative decision about Luke Skywalker in the last movie. You can logisticize that shit all you want, but in the end, was it smart? We wanted to see, like Luke said, you want me to face down the whole First Order with a green laser sword? Yes, bitch. Because that would have sold your toys. Guess what, Disney? Your toys aren't selling. Nobody wants to go to your theme park. Because this is one thing. And one thing this movie proves above all, which is something I have been saying ever since Episode 8 came out. This movie proves that Luke Skywalker is Star Wars, and you tried to do it without him. I remember um, when I was in college, and the Reverend Jesse James came to my college, Wayne County Community College. Me and my best friend and brother, Jason Wells. Hi, Jason. We uh, we went and we sat in. He was, you know how people they come to the colleges and they give speeches, inspiration. And this was back in 2012 when Michigan's economy was kind of falling by the wayside, trying to get back. Obama's second term, and the economy was picking up, but it hadn't quite picked up to the point where it is now. And what the Reverend Jesse James said is that Michigan has to course correct because a couple decades ago, Michigan made the mistake of thinking it could be Michigan without Detroit. And what he said was that Detroit is Michigan. You have no Michigan without Detroit. The metropolitan areas, no matter what they do, you can outsource it to all the metropolitan areas in the world. But if this city is not doing good, your state will not do good because this is your city. This is one of the biggest cities in the country. And you can't just alleviate it, and you can't just forget about it. Once Michigan started figuring out that once what's better for Detroit is better for Michigan, Michigan is doing better. We're doing great now. Since 2014, Michigan has been on the up because it remembered its core. Unfortunately, Star Wars could not course correct after Rian Johnson fucked over Luke Skywalker. You realize Luke Skywalker is Star Wars. That's why your last movie made $300 million less than its predecessor. Because you, Rian Johnson, to subvert expectations, you ruined one of the most iconic characters of all time. You ruined him. We don't never get to see the green lightsaber again except for in a flashback. We don't get to see what other powers Luke could have did with the Force. If Luke would have came out with all them powers first, nobody would have said nothing and then passed it down to Rey. I believe that Rey should have been the main character, but you needed Luke Skywalker to carry her over, if that makes sense. Like in wrestling, when they say you put somebody over, he did put her over in the last movie, but not in the way it was supposed to. He was supposed to go out in a blaze of glory. And then that's why you should have introduced Leia being a Jedi in the first movie. Because you could have even had it, if you wanted to be really SJW, you could have had it to where Luke refused to train Rey and Leia did it. Maybe Luke was obsessed with trying to bring Kylo back like he was obsessed with bringing Vader back. And the whole point of it was that maybe Kylo can't be redeemed. Maybe Ben Solo never could come back. Him coming back at the end of this movie was like, it's convoluted, and we was all waiting for it. We all knew what was going to happen. Despite all the leaks were true, by the way. If anybody paid attention to this movie like I had for these past 2 years, every single fucking leak that dropped was true. And I didn't even think it was going to be. But when they start hitting, I was like, I can't believe it. I can't fucking believe it. It was so crazy. So crazy. This video is getting long. I'll probably have to make another one. But Rise of Skywalker is a movie that suffered from the sins of its predecessors. These characters could have been people that we liked.